Welcome back, guys. It's Brent here from Radiate From Within Wellness. We've been talking about a lot of things that there's science for that helps us understand, but I'm going to touch on some things that there really isn't much science for other than quantum physics. Some of the studies are still being done, and we don't have a lot of concrete information other than my personal experiences from witnessing changes within myself and the events in my life. But this video will not be for everyone. Just want to get that out right now. We're going to talk about we've been talking quite a bit about frequencies and how they relate to us, our situations, the health of organs and things in our body. Frequencies are very important. We have within us an electrical current that is in every single cell in the form of microvolts. It is direct current, which is called DC voltage. It is absolutely there and present and measurable. But, what I can describe it to you is something that looks exactly like this. Now, if you can see that without the glare, okay, our entire bodies look like that because of the energy that is in them, if we could see it. Now, we can direct that energy through the palms of our hands, out our hearts and minds. Every cell of our body has the ability to radiate and receive, and we become sensitive to frequencies, whether it's cell phones and Wi-Fi or just the clothing that we're wearing. Everything has a frequency, and it influences us in very microscopic ways and sometimes in very strong ways, depending on the frequency itself. Now, the subject is so vast, it's hard to describe where we should begin with it. And I'd like to begin with our two hands, where we, if we're religious, we would pray and give thanks for the food we're going to receive. All of that type of prayer, stems from a religion. But if we go back far enough in time, we can understand that it existed in, I'm going to say, native cultures, but many ancient Essenes and civilizations that were kind of ahead of the whole onslaught of religion. Now, what were they actually doing with their food if they weren't actually praying? They knew something, and the more in depth that you look, you begin to understand how somehow they knew that all things were connected. And I've mentioned this previously, but we know from the Japanese water studies that we have an effect on water. We have an effect on not just the frequency of water, but also its geometry. Now, when we know all things are connected, and that we are connected to all things, when we direct energy, it's hard to believe we're changing something when we can't physically see it. But from the studies, we know that we do. We absolutely know that we do, especially with water, because of the Japanese studies. Now, there's hardly any food out there that doesn't contain some volume of water. When you put your two hands on either side of a plate of food, and the frequencies radiating out of the palm of your hands can alter the frequency of the food and the geometry of the water in the food. And really what it's doing is making it suitable for you in particular, your frequencies. Especially, we keep saying frequencies, and frequencies are actually emotions. And like whatever emotion we're carrying within our bodies can be directed outward, and it can change things for you. Now, when we have gratitude and compassion and love and all of those things, and we're feeling into it, and we are directing it into our food and water, when we consume those products, they've been altered for you. And I believe that was the very beginning of how all religion got to address food in the way of prayer prior to having a meal. It was just something that was added into something that we already do because of the understanding of our connection to all things, and especially our food that is going to become a part of us. Having it match frequencies and geometry and structure before we put it in our body makes absolute good sense. And we know that parasites, free radicals, germs, bacteria can be killed by frequencies because of their size. They are very fragile to frequencies, and when we think about frequencies and we create them and we send them at something that we're going to consume, we're basically ridding it of parasites, free radicals, and bacteria by forcing that frequency into the food or water before we consume it. Now, there are not a lot of studies out there on this particular subject, but I do believe that they will come in the near future. The ability to change geometry of food and frequency before consuming it can be very noticeable if you wanted to try it through let's just say a bad glass of wine. If wine is off and you have a glass of wine and it doesn't taste quite right, and you spend a few minutes sending frequency into that glass of wine, its geometry and its frequency will be changed by you, and you should be able to alter that glass of wine to something more likable by you. And that is just to help you feel and believe more into what you're doing than just listening to me say so. You can actually physically try that. Now, in order to create the flow of frequency coming out the palm of your hands, the best way to do that is through breath work. Meaning, if you can close your eyes and envision when you are inhaling, in through the mouth, out through the nose. But if you could envision that you're actually pulling in the breath through the heart and exhaling out the palm of your hands in the mind's eye while doing the breath in through the mouth and out through the nose, you can direct those frequencies very nicely into the water, the wine, or the food prior to consuming it. You can also breathe in through the root chakra right up to the top of your head and exhale down the shoulders and out through the palms of your hands as well. And that's actually a very strong frequency if you can get the handle on that breath work. So just wanted to put these perspectives to you for something that you could try and play with and see if you are capable of making that happen for yourself with a glass of wine or water or food. And I would choose something that might be a little bit off to you, that just maybe it upsets you mildly when you have it, things like that. And choose something where you know that it gives you a little issue. Do that breath work into it just for 30 seconds, maybe a minute maximum. Get the breath flowing and directed hand energy to either side of it, and then consume it and note the difference. Absolutely choose something where you know how it will make you feel, or you know how it will taste, and then do the energy work and then try it. And I'm absolutely confident that you will witness great differences. Let me know. I'm very curious. Thank you. Have a good day.